You like them. Maybe a little too much. Maybe more than you'd like to admit. And now you're stuck in that familiar mental spiral. Do they feel the same way? Are they just being nice? How do I even get on their radar without looking desperate?
We've all been there, staring at our phones, waiting for a reply that takes 3 eternities, overthinking every laugh, every glance, every emoji. And let's be honest, having a crush is a roller coaster. It's thrilling, it's terrifying, it's weirdly addictive. But what's even more frustrating? When you feel like you're stuck in the background of their life, while they're front and center in your mind. So how do you stand out without trying too hard? How do you spark something real, without faking your way into their attention? Well, here's the good news. Attraction isn't just some magical force that appears out of nowhere. It's not luck. It's not about being the hottest or the most outgoing person in the room. It's about psychology. Yep, there are specific, science-backed signals that create connection, increase emotional closeness, and, even better, make someone start seeing you through a different lens, not as a friend, not as background noise, but as someone they're drawn to. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome back to Psych Bites, where we decode the subtle, fascinating science behind human attraction and relationships. In this video, we're unpacking the real psychology behind making someone like you, not through manipulation or tricks, but by showing up in small, powerful ways that activate the brain's natural pathways for interest and attachment. We're talking subtle shifts in body language, the surprising effect of eye contact, how scent and proximity influence chemistry, why laughter and timing matter more than smooth lines ever will, and how to be unforgettable even if you barely say a word. So, if you're tired of feeling invisible to the person you like, or you're done overanalyzing every interaction while getting nowhere, it's time to flip the script. Because connection doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you understand what actually makes someone feel seen, safe, and sparked. Let's get into the science of that little 4-letter word and how to make it notice you back. Let's clear something up early on. Attraction isn't just magic. It feels magical, sure. Butterflies, heart skips, sudden obsessions with someone's laugh, their hoodie, their playlist. It's like your brain lights up in places you didn't know existed. But what's actually happening inside that brain? Pure chemistry, and not just the romantic kind. The truth is, attraction follows patterns. It runs on a complex, beautifully layered system of biology, psychology, and subconscious processing, which means it can be influenced, not faked, not manipulated, but gently activated, and that's where the real power lies. Let's start with something called the mere exposure effect. Psychologist Robert Zions coined this term after discovering that people tend to develop a preference for things, or people, they're exposed to repeatedly. It's not about grand gestures or bold entrances, it's about presence. Being in someone's environment, even in small, casual ways, makes you more familiar, and familiarity builds comfort, which opens the door to attraction. Your crush doesn't have to know they're noticing you. Their brain does it on its own, but it doesn't stop there. There's also the reciprocity principle, another psychological gem. Studies show we're more likely to like people who we believe like us. It's wild, right? We don't even need confirmation. We just need to sense interest. That subtle feeling that someone sees us and enjoys it. That's why showing just enough warmth, attention, and curiosity can be a game changer. You're not chasing them. You're inviting them to feel seen. Then there's dopamine, the pleasure chemical. When someone laughs with you, shares a fun moment, or has a slightly flirty exchange, their brain releases dopamine. It's that hit of feel-good energy. The trick? The more someone associates that feeling with you, the more they're drawn to you, not just because of who you are, but because their brain likes how it feels around you. So no, you don't need to be flawless. You don't need to be a social butterfly or a pickup artist. You just need to understand the emotional landscape of attraction, the subtle ways we attach, the small psychological shifts that build something magnetic. That's what this video is about. Making your presence feel good, safe, and slightly unforgettable, without ever pretending to be someone you're not. Because when you show up as your authentic self, with a little intention, a little timing, and a bit of psychology on your side,
You don't just get noticed, you become irresistible. Let's start with something incredibly simple, but powerful. Just being around. Like we already know, psychologists call it the mere exposure effect, and it's one of the most underestimated principles of attraction. The idea is that the more someone is exposed to something, or someone, the more positively they begin to feel about it. It's not conscious, it's not forced, it just happens. Your brain loves patterns, it likes familiarity. So when your crush starts seeing you more often, whether it's in person, online, or even through mutual connections, their mind starts to register you as a part of their landscape. You become less of a stranger and more of a safe, recognizable presence. And the best part? You don't have to say or do anything extraordinary in these moments. You just have to show up. That doesn't mean stalking their social feed or inserting yourself into every conversation. It means being visible, present, and around, at shared events, through mutual friends, in the kinds of spaces they frequent. Over time, your presence becomes comfortable, familiar, and that comfort can easily evolve into curiosity. Remember, attraction doesn't always begin with a spark. Sometimes it begins with repetition, with a quiet sense of, I don't know what it is about them, but I kind of like having them around. That's your in. Because once someone's brain starts associating you with safety and positivity, it's far easier for chemistry to build naturally, and all you had to do was show up. Here's a wild secret about human connection. People are constantly communicating, even when they're saying nothing. And one of the most powerful ways to build subconscious rapport? Mirroring. No, not copying someone like a mime. Subtle mirroring is when you reflect parts of someone's body language, posture, tone, or energy back to them, without even realizing it. And when done intentionally and gently, it triggers a psychological response that says, "You're like me." This is known as the chameleon effect, and research in social psychology has shown that people who engage in subtle mimicry are seen as more likable, more trustworthy, and more attractive. Why? Because our brains associate mirroring with emotional synchronicity, meaning we must be on the same wavelength. So, how do you use this without feeling robotic? If your crush leans in during a conversation, give it a few seconds and gently do the same. If they're animated and expressive, let your energy rise a little too. If they speak softly, lower your tone slightly to match. It's not about copying every move, it's about syncing. What you're doing is helping their nervous system relax around you. When someone feels mirrored, emotionally and physically, they feel understood, safe, connected, and that feeling sticks. The key is to stay present. Don't overthink it. If you're really listening and genuinely engaged, your body will begin doing some of the mirroring naturally. You're just leaning into it a little more mindfully. And trust me, when someone starts feeling that we just click sensation, they usually can't explain why. But now you know, it's because their brain feels seen by yours. Here's the thing, surface level conversation is safe, but it doesn't make people fall for you. If you want to really connect with someone, you have to give them something real to connect to. And one of the most powerful ways to do that? Ask better questions. No, not creepy or overly intense, but beyond, what do you do? And how was your weekend? Lies a space where real emotional intimacy begins to form. Psychologist Arthur Aaron once conducted a study where strangers were asked a series of increasingly vulnerable questions. By the end, many felt deeply bonded. Some even fell in love. That's because self-disclosure, when done gradually and with emotional safety, creates closeness. It's the feeling of, I've never told anyone this before, or you actually listen. So what kinds of questions work? Things like, what's something you're really proud of, but rarely say out loud? Or, what kind of person makes you feel most at ease? Or even just, what's something that made you laugh this week? These types of questions invite people to drop the mask. And when someone opens up to you, even just a little, it releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Their brain literally starts linking you with emotional safety. But here's the key. Don't just ask, share. Let the conversation be a two-way street. Vulnerability is contagious, and people fall for the feeling that they can be themselves around you. You don't need to be wildly charming, you just need to be curious and a little brave with your questions.
They say the eyes are the window to the soul, and when it comes to attraction, it turns out that's scientifically accurate. Eye contact does more than just signal interest. It creates connection on a biological level. Sustained warm eye contact has been shown to activate the limbic system of the brain, where emotions live. It triggers arousal, curiosity, even desire. It's no wonder that studies have shown strangers who maintain eye contact for longer than normal often report feeling emotionally closer, even if they just met. Now, there's a little trick to using this intentionally, and it's called the triangle gaze. You look at your crush's left eye, then their right eye, and then their lips, gently, slowly, and then back to their eyes. You don't have to stare them down or be intense about it. You're not hypnotizing them, you're just letting your attention linger, like you're seeing them, not just looking. What this does is cue the brain to start picking up romantic and intimate signals. The triangle gaze isn't overt. It's subtle, warm, and it makes your presence feel magnetic. Even outside of flirting, eye contact that's held just a moment longer than usual builds trust. It says, "I'm here with you," in a world full of distractions. And when your eyes say something, you'll be surprised how quickly theirs start saying it back. You know what's wildly underrated in attraction? Playfulness. Not the kind where you're cracking one-liners or trying to be the class clown, but the kind that makes someone's guard drop for a second. That moment when something is just genuinely fun. That's the sweet spot. Psychologists have long linked shared laughter to emotional bonding. When you laugh with someone, you're not just enjoying the moment, you're connecting through it. You're releasing endorphins, lowering stress levels, and creating a mini moment of intimacy without even touching. Laughter is disarming. It lets people breathe, and in that breath, they start to feel safe around you. Plus, playfulness is a sign of confidence. It shows you're not taking yourself too seriously, and when you can joke with someone, especially in a light, flirty way, it invites them into a world that feels lighter, warmer, and more you. It could be teasing them, gently, about their weird coffee order, or making a face when your mutual friend tells a bad joke, or laughing at your own awkward moment instead of pretending it didn't happen. That kind of humor, it's magnetic. It says, you can be relaxed around me, you can be real. People fall for the person they can laugh with, because laughing isn't just fun, it's a tiny moment of vulnerability. It's the brain going, I trust this enough to let go. So if you're wondering what makes someone feel emotionally close fast, it might not be a perfect line. It might just be that moment you both can't stop giggling about the same ridiculous thing. Want to know a secret about attraction that almost no one talks about? It's not just about who you are, it's about when you show up. Psychologists call it misattribution of arousal, a theory that suggests when someone feels emotionally heightened, excited, anxious, energized, they may mistakenly associate those intense feelings with you, simply because you were there. Sounds wild, right? But it's real. In one classic experiment, people who crossed a shaky suspension bridge were more likely to call an attractive interviewer they met at the end than people who met the same person on solid ground. Why? Because their heightened physiological state, increased heart rate, adrenaline, made them feel more drawn to the person in front of them. Now, I'm not saying you should drag your crush onto a roller coaster or into a horror movie on day one, but the core idea is gold. If you're around them during a meaningful or emotionally charged moment, whether it's celebrating a win, navigating a tough day, or just experiencing something exciting, you become part of that memory. The brain wires your presence into the emotional experience, and that makes you harder to forget. This is why timing matters, not in a manipulative way, but in an intentional, emotionally intelligent way. If you show up when life feels real, not perfect, you're more likely to be remembered emotionally, not just visually. Because attraction isn't only about chemistry, it's about emotional imprinting, and being there in the right moments. That's how you start to leave one. Here's a strange truth about the human brain. It loves patterns, but it lives for unpredictability, especially when it comes to attraction. There's a psychological concept called the reward uncertainty effect, and it's one of the reasons why playing it cool sometimes works. The idea is this: we're more drawn to things that give us intermittent rewards rather than predictable ones.
Our brains release more dopamine when we don't know exactly what to expect. In dating terms, if someone knows exactly when you're going to text, or that you'll always say yes, or that you're always available, the mystery wears off. But if you're warm, engaging, and just a little unpredictable, that keeps things exciting. Now, this doesn't mean you play games or ghost them for 3 days. That's not attraction. That's avoidance. What it does mean is, don't lay everything out all at once. Let your energy vary a little. Take a few hours to respond sometimes. Surprise them with something thoughtful one day, then pull back and let them initiate next time. It creates a feeling of, what will they do next? And that's where interest grows. Because when someone is slightly uncertain about your next move, they start paying more attention. The key is balance. You want to be consistently kind, not constantly available. Keep them guessing, not confused. Because just like with your favorite book, show, or song, the best connections always have a little unpredictability woven into their rhythm. Okay, this one is sneaky, but powerful. Scent. Science says our sense of smell is directly tied to memory and attraction. In fact, the part of your brain that processes scent, the olfactory bulb, sits right next to the limbic system, where emotions and memories live. That's why one whiff of someone's cologne or shampoo can transport you straight back to a moment, a mood, a feeling. So yes, how you smell matters. Now, this doesn't mean drowning yourself in perfume or chasing the most expensive brand. It means finding a clean, subtle scent that feels like you. Something comforting, unique, something someone could lean in slightly to catch again. Because scent isn't just sensory, it's emotional. It creates imprinting. And if your presence carries a consistent, soft scent with it, people begin to associate it with you. But scent works best when paired with something else, subtle confidence. That's not walking in like you own the place. It's standing tall, making eye contact, smiling like you know you're worthy of attention without needing it. It's the way you carry your body, the calmness in your voice, the steadiness in your energy. Confidence doesn't shout. It draws in. It lets someone feel your presence, not because you're demanding it, but because you're grounded in it. And when someone smells something soft, comforting, while feeling your quiet steadiness, that's not just attraction, it's chemistry. It's easy to fall for someone who likes the same music, binges the same shows, or can quote the same memes. Those little sparks? Super fun. They help us bond fast. But when it comes to building real attraction, the kind that lasts, it's not the shared interests that matter most, it's the shared values. Think of it this way. Shared interests are the doorway in. Shared values are the floor you stand on. Psychologically, we're drawn to people who reflect parts of ourselves, especially the parts we respect. When someone values what you value, whether it's honesty, ambition, creativity, empathy, or growth, it doesn't just feel good, it feels safe. It creates emotional alignment. Research on long-term compatibility shows that values alignment is a far better predictor of relationship success than having lots in common on paper. That's because interests can change. You might grow out of a favorite band or hobby, but your core values, those stay solid. So how do you signal your values to your crush without preaching or oversharing? You live them. If kindness matters to you, show it. To them, to strangers, to your friends. If growth is important, talk about what you're learning. If emotional intelligence is a value, hold space for real conversations. Let your energy reflect what matters to you. And if you discover their values align with yours, lean in, celebrate it. Because when someone sees that you care about what really matters, beneath the playlists, you stop being just a fun connection. You become someone they could see as something real. You can have chemistry, eye contact, shared jokes, all the playful tension in the world. But if someone doesn't feel emotionally safe with you, that attraction will flicker and fade. Here's the truth. Our nervous systems are constantly scanning for signals of safety. Not just physical safety, but emotional safety. Is this person going to show up? Will they make me feel seen and heard? Can I be myself around them? Messy, quiet, weird, anxious, and still feel accepted? And the fastest way to create that feeling? Consistency. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be predictably kind. If you show up one day full of attention and disappear the next, it creates unease.
But if you're steady, even in small, simple ways, it builds trust. It says, I won't pull the rug out from under you. And when you pair that with attentiveness, the game changes. Noticing little things they say and remembering them, following up, asking about something they mentioned offhand, responding with care when they open up, even just a little. It's not about grand gestures. It's the micro moments, the tiny signals that say, I'm paying attention because you matter. Psychologically, this creates what experts call secure emotional attachment, the foundation of all long-term connection. It allows someone to relax, to lean in, to feel. Because no one falls in love with someone who makes them anxious. We fall in love with people who feel safe, who don't just spark attraction, but build trust without even trying to prove anything. And if you can offer that, you're not just someone they notice, you're someone they can't forget. Let's step back for a second and talk about why all of this actually works. Because yes, attraction can feel mysterious, but underneath all those butterflies and longing glances, your brain is following a very specific pattern. And the more you understand that pattern, the more empowered you are, not to manipulate, but to connect meaningfully. When you use tools like subtle mirroring, sustained eye contact, and shared laughter, you're activating the brain's reward system, which releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical behind motivation and pleasure. If your presence consistently triggers small bursts of dopamine, someone starts to associate you with that rush. That's not magic, it's neuroassociation, and it's incredibly powerful. Then there's oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It shows up when people feel emotionally safe, trusted, or even just seen. When you remember something small they said last week, or make them feel heard in a loud world, you're literally giving their brain a reason to feel connected to yours. Oxytocin builds trust, and trust is what turns flirtation into potential intimacy. Add to that the mere exposure effect, which tells us that familiarity increases likability, and the reward uncertainty principle, which says people pay more attention to unpredictable outcomes. And suddenly, all of those little strategies come together like pieces of a psychological puzzle. Even scent, body language, and shared vulnerability play their part in this. Studies show that emotional arousal, like excitement or nervousness, can be misattributed to attraction when someone is nearby, meaning that simply being around during emotionally charged moments, like a group hangout or even a challenging day, can deepen someone's bond with you. But here's the secret ingredient that ties it all together: authenticity. None of this works if it's not coming from a genuine place. You're not performing, you're offering someone a real connection with someone who feels grounded, present, and safe to be around. Attraction isn't about proving yourself, it's about inviting someone in. Here's the thing about trying to make your crush fall for you. It's not really about changing yourself, it's about becoming more of yourself in the presence of someone you're interested in. It's about peeling away the fear and hesitation just enough to let someone see you. Not the polished, curated version, but the real, grounded, interesting human being behind it all. Because what draws people in, what makes someone stay, isn't perfect timing, flawless lines, or Instagrammable chemistry. It's warmth, presence, safety, playfulness with a pulse, and a deep, intuitive sense that says, I don't need to impress you. I just want to connect with you. So yes, you can use psychology. You can understand how the brain responds to mirroring, laughter, eye contact, and subtle unpredictability. You can make your presence linger in someone's memory. You can create moments that feel effortless, but are actually grounded in real science. But at the end of the day, the most attractive thing you can be is emotionally available. Someone who shows up, someone who listens, someone who's brave enough to be just a little vulnerable. That's what people crave, and that's what turns attention into affection. So try the tricks, sure, but don't forget that you're the magic ingredient here. Everything you need to be noticed, to be remembered, to be desired, it's already in you. You're just learning how to let it show. And now it's your turn. What's the cutest or funniest thing you've ever done to get a crush to notice you? Or what's something someone did for you that made your heart flutter? Drop it in the comments below. I'm dying to hear your stories. And hey, if someone's already showing signs they like you, the next step is everything.
What to do if someone likes you, the psychology behind attraction and response.
Because knowing how to respond with emotional intelligence, that's the real love language. Click to watch now, and don't forget to subscribe to Psych Bites for more deep dives into the psychology of relationships, attraction, and human behavior. See you in the next one.